Greetings of the day, and my name is Ninad Bhatt from Serpent Consulting Services Private Limited, and I just hope that you guys are doing wonders today. So let's go ahead with our second video of our series, wherein we are discussing a fleet reservation management solution. So as you can see on the screen that this is how the login screen will look like, as we have seen in our first video. I'm just entering my credentials, and we will directly be taken to the opening screen, which will by default will be the discuss application. But from the top left corner, as I said earlier in my last video, that we always have an option to choose for the application that we want to work with. And of course, in our case, it's going to be the fleet. Right. So when we're entering to the fleet application, it's going to be the opening screen for this particular module that we are going to work with. So in the last video, as we have discussed that, we discussed about some general basic things about the navigation, about the menu items that we have, about the major menus that you can see in this row, and some more options it contains. Right. So the agenda for this particular video is going to be something wherein I will show you that how the configuration things works. As the word suggests, we are going to configure our solution in a way that we want. So that, in other words, we also can say that, let's say if you are entering the vehicle details, or let's say if you are entering the details pertaining to the fuel filling or something like that. So we have some of the list which will be pre-created, right? So what is that particular place wherein we are entering the pre-configured data, and that's going to be the configuration over here, right? So let's first check about the first option, which is nothing but the setting. So as you can see on the screen that we are having an only option within this setting menu. It is nothing but the end date contract alert, which means that when some of your contract is going to end, it will show you an intimation. It will simply give you an alert message. But prior how many days you want this particular alert message, that is to be configured from here. As of now, we can say that it's 30, which means that prior a month of the end of the contract, you will be getting that notification automatically from the system, so that you can plan rest of your things accordingly, and you can plan other of your contracts accordingly. All right. So we just will keep it as is, and we are just going to save it. Right. So to go further with the other sub-menu items, here we can see that the car manufacturers. Since we are working with the larger volume of fleets, or let's say you have the group of cars, you are a travel agent, and you have your own fleet, or let's say in some of the cases you have some contracts with the car owners. But the pre-configured data will help you to select from the menu items in the other portion of the solution. Let me just show you it practically. Sorry. So as you can see on the screen that, suppose if you're going to work with car model, or even prior to that, let's say if you're adding a new vehicle to the list, we have some vehicles already there which have been registered. But let's say if you're creating the new one, so our very first field itself will be asking you the model and the manufacturer of the car. So we don't want our users to enter it manually every time when they're creating or when you're registering the new fleet. So we have an option to choose it from the available data. So as you can see on the list, we have an option to search for more. If you feel that, okay, your particular model or your particular manufacturer is not there in the list, we have an option to click on search more, or else we can simply create the new one on the go. So that's the beauty of Odoo, or that's the beauty of a solution that you can see, right? The same way, let's say if you are going to work with the car models, right? So we will simply be able to have a look at the companies and the manufacturers in other way, I would say, and how many fleet that we have from this particular company. So what exactly I would like to show you here is that where all this data is being pre-configured so that it comes in handy when you're entering the data, let's say to register a new vehicle, right? That's just for an example. And also there are further more options that we will come across wherein we will need the pre-configured data. So which is the exact place in our solution where we can configure the data and where we can have the data entered in a way that it comes in handy when exactly we want it. So for that, we'll simply need to go into the configuration and let's go into the car manufacturers. So you can see some of the well-known names of the brands, right, which will be readily available when we're entering the data for any of your new fleet or something like that. Same way, we always have an option to create the new one. If you are not having something in list, we have an option to create the new one from here. I'll just be using some exemplary words over here since I believe that we have majority of our manufacturer of the cars there on the list. So let's call it a new manufacturer, or let's say a new brand. We have an option to simply click on this particular image icon and we will be able to select the image that you want to represent that particular record. But that's of course not mandatory. The only mandatory thing over here, as you can see, it's in the blue line, which means that entering the car or the brand name, sorry, the brand name will be the mandatory thing at least. For now, I just have entered it and I'm going to save it. So after that, let's say if I'm going to enter the vehicle model. So we have 11 cars from Audi, we have 9 fleets from BMW, 1 from Maruti, Mercedes and Opel. The same way, if you want to make it available when we are entering the car detail itself, right? So let's say if you are entering the new record, if we are, let's say we are going to get a new fleet on board very soon. So of course, initially it will simply be asking for the car's manufacturer and its model. So as you can see on the screen that it is not being listed down over here. The reason is that we have configured the manufacturer, but we haven't entered any such detail about the car and about the fleet that we use from that particular manufacturer. For that, we will need to simply go inside the vehicles menu and let's say in the vehicle model. So if you're creating the new model from here, let's say a new car. So just to make it less confusing, guys, for you, I'll just simply say that the here in our case, the manufacturer of the car, it was named like a new brand, and the model of the car, let's say, it has been named like a new car. But what we have configured there in this particular menu will directly be available to us in this particular list. We have an option to simply tap in the phrase so that we can get what we want, and we can see that a new brand is already there in the list. So that is because it has been pre-configured from this particular section. Sorry. New brand, right? And here you can see that we have one fleet at least, from this particular brand that we just have configured and added under this particular section of the solution. So of course, the car name and the brand name would be the mandatory thing. If you want to also add the fleet manager, who is going to be the fleet manager, I mean to say who is going to be the person who takes care of this particular car or the fleet, amongst the all. So we simply can choose that as well from an option. We have an option to simply click on this particular image icon and we will be able to select the car from here as well. I'm going to save it. And like other companies, uh, we can see that we have one car from a new brand, right? Once it is created, we again have an option to edit the information of that particular fleet or that particular car model as well, if we want to, right? Fine. So the reason that I'm showing you here is that this is one of the examples that how the configuration menu works, and how many other options that we have that we are going to look at, and how the pre-configured data will come in handy when exactly you are going to work with the major part of our solution, which is going to be the vehicle menu over here. Right. This is one of the widely used and highly operational section, that we can call it like that way. But the data it retrieves from would be nothing but the pre-configured list, and that we will be able to do that from this particular menu, right? So if you want to again create the new manufacturer, if you want to create the new brand over here, it lets you do that. Not only that, but if we have any brand pre-configured, and if you want something to edit, let's say if the company changes its logo, you will simply be able to do that from here. So it gives you the complete freedom. It gives you the high level choice to to you, in fact, that how you want your solutions to be and how it should be working for you. So that is nothing but the flexibility of Odoo and the flexibility of our solution that we are having on top of that, right? Going further, we will be having look at the service types. Now, when it comes to the larger volume of fleet that you have, right, you would be coming across so many such issues wherein some of your fleet wants some kind of repairing or some kind of services, right, from the garage. So again, this is nothing but the pre-configured list of services that we can perform from here. We can create a new service. We simply can name it from here. Let's say, for an example, we are going to name it a new service. We are going to save it, right? So this is how the configuration for the services thing works. But just to show you the practical example of the same, let's say if you go inside the vehicles, if we choose to go with any of the existing registered vehicle, and let's say suppose it needs some kind of services. So as you can see that we are having some smart buttons on top of the form. This is going to be this is how it's going to be the form view of your registered fleet, wherein it will directly be showing you the smart buttons for driver's history, contacts, reservations so far your fleet has served, costs, services, fuel, and odometer. So let's say the pre-configured services from this particular menu will directly be helping you out. If you feel that any of your fleet, any of your car wants some kind of service, you simply will be able to create it from here. Creating services is basically nothing but you are telling your other guys or your management that okay, this particular fleet has some issues technically and wants some kind of services. So for that, you will simply need to create a new service. Since we directly jumped on to this particular menu from the vehicle itself, which needs the service, so we can see that we have the pre-entered detail of the fleet, which wants some kind of repairing. But the freedom that we have is to choose from the services, a long list of services that we are having, right? And again, the same thing goes here. I mean, if you cannot see your option in the list, we have an option to search for more, or let's say we simply can type in this particular field. So we had named it a new service, and this is how it goes. The system, the solution made it available directly within the list, from which you can select your appropriate option and you can save it like a service, so that you simply can keep a track that how which kind of services any of your fleet ever wanted, and how it goes further, right? I'm not saving this particular record for now, but again, we have taken the second example of the same thing, in fact, in some other ways or in some other segment of the solution. But yes, the configuration measure menu and the sub menus will help you out to pre-configure and to pre-enter those data that you want to have in the operational part of your solution. Let's say in our case, it's going to be the vehicles, right? Just to have a look back at the pre-configured and the pre-entered services, let's say the AC recharge, or let's say it simply needs a car wash, right? So you simply can do it for any of your fleet. If you feel that the car is looks very bad when it's quite dusty, you simply can create a service. You simply can select an option car washer, which will directly be available to you, right, from this particular list. So fine, here it shows that how we are creating the service types, how we are configuring the data that you want in the other segment of the solution. All right, so we have a look at some other options as well. Let's say the contract type, right? So it has its effect when you are selecting the contract, uh, when you're registering any of the vehicle as your fleet, and if you want to create some kind of contract with the car owner or with any other person. So for that, you will simply be able to select it from a list, but how many items and which are the items that should be there in the list, that is to be created from this particular area of the solution, right? Same goes with the vehicle status. So vehicle status is again something which you can pre-configure, but also let me show you that where it has its effect. So when we are having a look at our registered fleet, as you can see on the top that, okay, we have some of the stages. Let's say the new request, especially it will come in handy when you have some request to register some new fleet or a new car, with others. Or let's say it has been ordered but has not yet been registered. So this particular data would be having its place accordingly. I mean, it's a Kanban view, we can say, right? We have an option to have a look at the list view as well, right? And that is one of the default options Odoo offers, that if you want to have a look at the data in an Kanban view, so that is also possible, and that is the mostly preferable view, I would say, right? Or else we also want to have a look at the list view, then we have an option to toggle up the button from here. So Kanban view is quite more comfortable for me, also to use the solution and also to show you that how the stages works when it comes to the configurations. So let's say this particular fleet is not yet registered, but new request, it has been ordered. We will simply drag it and put it over here. And let's say it's registered. So we simply will be able to do it like this, which shows us that how many fleets that we are having, which have already been registered, right? And how many fleets that we have, which gone further with the other stages, let's say downgraded or reserved. So from where these stages are coming from, right? So it's again, I would say that it's a freedom that solution gives us, that we want to call what we want to call our stages, the process of a particular fleet which it is going with. So that can simply be configured from the vehicle status. Again, to show you the same thing in a practical way, if I want to, instead of creating the new one, let me just edit the name of the very first stage. Let's say from new request, let's call it like simply new. We're saving it and going into the vehicles, selecting vehicles from that menu. And this is how it shows that your pre-configured data again works, and it allows you to have your system, and it allows you to have the labels of your system in a way that you want. So that's all about the vehicle status, guys. And moving further, we have the reservation location as well. So reservation location is again nothing but when it comes to reserving a particular fleet. Let's say if I'm booking a fleet and if I want to book a particular car or any of the vehicle, let's say to commute from my home to office or vice versa. So Odoo offers you the data creation in a way that if you are searching something in the list, and as I said earlier, that if it is not there in the list, we have two options. Either you can go and search for the more options, or else we always have an option to create any of the things on the go. All right. But yes, again, the pre-entered data will definitely help you out, I would say. So let's say if I'm going into the car reservation, if I'm creating the new one, it has many a field which are mandatory there. But as of now, what exactly we are going to have a look at is the pickup location and the drop location. So the locations that we have configured from this particular segment of this solution, it will come in handy when you're going to select the pickup and drop location, vice versa. Right? Let's say home and office. Or else we can create and edit the new one as well. If you feel that the location that you are currently at or the location that you want to go at, it's not there in the list, we have an option to create it on the go. But for now, let's do it in that way. I'm going into the reservation location. I'm creating new one. Again, by using the exemplary name, which also helps you to understand it in a conceptual way. We have many other options which will of course be helping the operators of the system in many other ways. Let's say the address, latitude, website, phone number, so that somebody can directly be in touch with you if it is required. As of now, just entering the mandatory one. Let's say the pickup location. I'm saving it, going back into the list, creating the new one, and entering one more such location, let's say where I want to go, right? So directly in this particular list, you can say that the record which are being created will directly and instantly being visible into this particular list. But exactly when it helps us to show you guys the same thing, I'll be creating the new reservation without entering any further data, just to show you that how the location configuration works. All right. So as you can see that the pickup location is here in the list since it has been pre-entered in its right place, in its right section of the solution. So I will directly be selecting the same thing from the list. Let's say the pickup location, and I will directly be selecting the drop location, right? And will save it to process it further. As of now, we will need to discard it because, of course, we will have a look at this particular thing as well, the car reservation thing in detail in the further videos. So let's just discard it for now. All right. So that's how the reservation locations are being pre-configured. Also, if you want to have a look at the same thing to create it on the go, we have an option to create the new location. Location on the go. I will simply click on create and edit. I'll save it, and when we look back to the place itself where generally the locations are being pre-configured, so this particular location was created on the go when I was simply be filling out the form, and I just realized that okay, my location is not there in the list. So that's again one more example of the flexibility of the solution that we are offering. Okay, so it's vice versa. I mean, if you have the list of your location where you feel that okay, these many locations I think would be enough for your usage, for any of your fleet to commute from and to. So it's highly suggestible that you pre-configure your data in a way, including the locations. If not, then as I said and as I shown that we have an option to create any of the data on the go when you feel that the right data is not there in the list. So moving further with the last option available, which is the vehicle tags. So it's nothing but the tags available just to identify a particular vehicle when it is completely and extensively operational in your fleet. You will simply be able to tag your car in a way which helps you out in its identification, and accordingly you can have your system workable. Which fleet that you want to get reserved, or let's say if you are having a group of people, let's say your employees, and if you are on the other side, you have group of let's say 10 or 12 or 15 fleets, and if you want to have it like that way, that okay, the fleet that you have for the employees should only be used by the employees. So you can simply tag your any of your fleet accordingly, and it works the way that you want. Yeah. So this is how the fleet reservation system is being pre-configured, and this is how the data comes from when you're starting. Let's say if you start using the solution, right? So there are many places where you will need some of the pre-configured data, and it will help you to smoothly run your business. It will help you to smoothly manage all your fleets, right, in the best way possible. All right, guys, so that's pretty much about this particular video. All right, in the next video, we are going to have a look at the actual operational things about the fleet reservation system, how a car or a fleet is being reserved, how to add or how to register the vehicles, how the vehicle odometers is being counted, right? How you can manage the cost involved in managing your fleets, vehicle contracts, fuel logs, vehicle service logs, and vehicle models. Right. So I think when I was explaining the configuration part and when I was practically showing you the fact that how exactly the pre-configured data works, I think you might have received the basic idea of all these options available to us for use. But yes, we are going to have a separate and a complete new video, and where wherein I'll be explaining you the things that how the car can be reserved and how exactly you can use this solution in the way that you want, in the best way possible, I would say. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it, and thank you very much for being with us on this video. Have a nice day.